Mick Akers, nice enough to join us here on Chris & Co. Mick, thanks for your time, especially because we know this is a very busy time for you. How about it? The Las Vegas A's, as best as we can tell, as best as you can tell from where you are right now, are the Las Vegas A's dead?
It's tough to say officially. They still haven't put out the agenda for the proposed special session. Obviously, we've seen some reports saying, hey, it's not going to be on there, but they were supposed to put that out this morning. Here we are, it's noon, and we haven't seen that yet. So I'm sure there's some stuff going on in the background. Obviously, that's kind of been the case this whole time. A lot of background work, and when they officially finally introduced their bill, which was last week, it was only a week before adjournment was happening last night. So just kind of tough to say officially, but there's a lot of rumbling saying, hey, this might be it for the A's in Vegas.
Gotcha. And just to clarify, and I don't mean to be redundant, but you got a lot of people here who are just hoping against hope that that deal falls apart. So there's a chance there's going to be a special session, at which point, if there is, they could discuss the A's, but we have no indication that that's going to happen at this point. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair, because they have other issues that they still have to iron out. They weren't during the regular session, which includes some portions of the state budget. So there is going to be a special session, at least for that. But right now, no one is exactly sure about what's going to be on there. People are, getting different things from their sources and such. But officially, it hasn't been officially, squashed saying, hey, this is a done deal. So, it's kind of a wait and see thing right now, seeing, what exactly is on this special session budget, just kind of, and if it's not on there, obviously that's a pretty good indication that, it's pretty much over.
Mick, I saw the other day that the Las Vegas Aviators put out on their social account that they're leading the Pacific Coast League in total attendance, and they had, I think, their 8th sellout of the season. And they've expressed with the Major League ballpark that they're expecting to have at least 70% of the attendance be from locals. Do you feel like there's enough of an appetite in Vegas right now for Major League Baseball?
Yeah, I would say because minor league baseball has been, pretty good supported out here. They've been out here for about 30 years. Obviously, attendance went a little bit down at Cashman Field. That was an aging facility similar to the Coliseum, but on a minor league level, it had similar issues even up to the sewage. So, once they moved over to Las Vegas ballpark a few years ago, we saw the attendance going, and they've been one of the leaders in minor league. Obviously, $100+ million stadium. It's super nice. It's probably the nicest one in the minor league baseball. So there's been some support there. I know the A's were hoping to be more along the lines of the Golden Knights fan base, how it's mainly locals who are in the stands there. So their owner tried to limit the amount of out of town visitors that go to each game. They were projecting about 30% for the A's. So obviously that's a tourism based thing, but the 30,000 seats. You look over at Allegiant Stadium and the Raiders, and some of those games are over 50% of people out of market. Granted, some of those people are from Northern and Southern California who are Raiders fans as well. But they were kind of trying to fall in line between, the Knights mainly being the home crowd, and you get the Raiders having a mix of, a large out of market fan base there. So they were trying to fall in between there. I think, they would be there obviously initially, but as you see now, once the blur of the new stadium and the new team would have worn off, they have to be productive on the field. That hasn't been the case obviously in Oakland in recent years. So that would be an issue if that was to continue if they ended up here.
Right. Talking with Mick Akers from the Las Vegas Journal-Review. On the Vegas side of it, Mick, who would you say has been the driving force behind this effort to bring in the A's? Is it the governor, the casinos? Is it just the fans are clamoring? It doesn't seem to be the case, but is it fans? Who would you say is a driving force on the Las Vegas side getting this thing as far as it's gotten, although it appears that it has stalled at this point?
Yeah, so if you go back and look at when their proposed bill was introduced, they had some heavy hitters from Las Vegas in the state. They had a representative from Governor Labatta's office there. They had the state treasurer, Zach Conine. They had some people from the tourism agency here, the LVCVA, and Steve Hill. He is one of the integral parts of bringing the Raiders here as well. And Jeremy Aguero, he's a principal at Applied Analysis. He also was a big part of the Raiders coming here. He even worked for the Raiders for about 7 months last year. So, they were the main people behind it. It's some of the who's of Las Vegas and Nevada as far as, people who can make things happen. So they're the ones who are mainly behind the scenes helping them out with this deal. And, if they can't get this thing past the goal line, I don't think anybody else can.
So if this were to be done now, it would have to be done through the special session being called. At what point because they've said that they can vote on the relocation. MLB can vote on the relocation as soon as June 13th through the 15th for the owners meetings. How soon could those special sessions be called in order to get this bill passed, if that is going to happen?
Yeah, so they could call that as soon as this week, and I think that's the plan, at least for that budget. Down the line they can also call it, later in the summer, because it doesn't have to happen right away.
Okay.
But Major League Baseball, they don't have to approve it at an in-person meeting. I was told by our source that if this eventually occurred and they got the funding approved, that all it would take was calling of a conference of all the owners, basically on a Zoom, and they could conduct the vote virtually.
Mick Akers, Las Vegas Journal Review. Mick, thank you so much for your insight. We appreciate it. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I hope we don't have to talk to him again soon, because
right,
I hope nothing happens.
Yes.
Yeah, appreciate his time.
Absolutely.
So it's still a little troubling, a little unsettling, but the news so far good. Was not the measure for funding for an A stadium in Vegas, not approved last night. The legislative session ended. So are they going to call a special session? We had this also from Tabitha Mueller reporting today that early this morning, Steve Yeager, a Nevada legislator, he said the upcoming special session will only involve a CIP bill and raising charter school teacher salaries. He said it would not include stadium deal or film tax credits. Mm-hmm. And she also added that while the governor can call a special session, only the speaker and majority leader can get to introduce bills during the special session. So even if the governor says, that's it, we're having a special session, he can't dictate what they're going to talk about. So a lot of indications that the stadium deal is dead, but we'll see what the A's statement says today. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, that's who would have guessed politics can get things confusing, but yeah, that's
I didn't see that.
That's shocker. But I mean, I guess it's not completely dead, but it's definitely, it seems to be on life support at this point, where it's like, at this point, it doesn't seem like it'll get brought up in those special sessions. And if it doesn't, then I mean, at that point, we're pretty much just waiting for the A's to officially say we are moving on.
Obviously depends on what the A's really want, what John Fisher really wants, what the legislature, what they want, why they didn't address it. Is there something where there's a little tit for tat? Well, if you address this, then we'll get into that. We don't know. It looks promising.
What do you believe John Fisher? If John Fisher could have his choice, which I think would probably just be to get this done as soon as possible, but what do you think John Fisher's ultimate hope would be for how this gets settled?
A new stadium anywhere that he didn't have to pay any money for.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't care where it was.
Yep. I think that's very clear.
The moon? All right.
Doesn't matter.
Pay for
Mars?
It?
Sure.
Great.
Yeah. Sign him up. Absolutely. I could see it. That's what it feels like to me as well. It just feels like doesn't care where it gets done. He just wants to get this done and not pay for it, and then probably sell the team immediately after. That's to me how I see this.
Which is tough. It seems to me to get done in a smaller market.
Yeah.
I mean, tough to get done anywhere,
right?
Especially in a smaller market. Will you pay for our whole stadium so we can bring our terrible team
in the state of California potentially?
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
Yeah.
It's a tough ask. And then I don't understand either, like, what I would think that not that it's going to really take too much value off of the team, but I would assume a new owner would want to have his say or their say in this relocation or in the new stadium and how all that's built as well. No, I mean, if I'm buying a team, I mean, sure, it's its own question
for you.
Sure.
Like, hey, you want to buy the team? Look, we got this whole deal straightened out for you.
Right.
It's all agreed upon. They're going to break ground, blah, blah, blah.
That's true, actually.
So depending on where it is and what the terms are, there's tremendous value.
Because the thing about the Vegas one that didn't make sense for that reason was you didn't own anything. And that's what I didn't understand, was like, why would a new owner for the Vegas stadium want to come in when you don't have any control over the stadium, don't really have control over the land, you just kind of own the team?
I understand that there's a lot of moving parts, but there's still something unsettling about the fact that it may be dead, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of zombiness to it, where it's like, this thing, I don't know if this thing is ever truly dead until ground has been broken somewhere.
Coming up, we have Game 3 of the NBA Finals tomorrow.